Hey, welcome back. What an adventure. This storage bin upload that should be seemingly fairly straightforward. We are really deep diving into all the details. So let's start from where we left. Last time we checked the transaction uploading the file. We actually debugged the transaction to try and understand what's the structure of the file that the program is expecting for the file upload. And we were able to find the data type within SAP that is used to map information from the file to the actual internal table and that specific data type. Let's have a look again where we were at and let's continue on this journey. Great, so I still have my debug open. This one here, ls-logp-mig, is the variable that is gonna have the data mapped from the file, and therefore the structure of this variable, the data type, should be also the structure of the file. I'm gonna copy this structure /scwm/s underscore lagp underscore lsmw underscore mig, copy. I will now open a new window and I'm gonna use transaction SE11 where I can search for specific data types. I select data type, I paste the data type that I saw is used, and I click display. Now as I click display here, I can see the structure and all the data inside the structure. What we saw in debug is that with 3 data points, the system gave values to the lgnum, lgpla, and lgtip fields. That here we have the description, so it's easier even if you don't know the technical names of the fields. The lgnum is the warehouse number, the lgpla is the storage bin, and the lgtip is the storage type. So here what I will do now is I will literally build the CSV file with the right format. Okay, and how I'm gonna do that, I'm actually gonna use the Excel because it's easier to build a more complex or bigger files with software like Excel. And I'm gonna copy paste all these fields into the Excel. I'm gonna create the right format with a CSV file. So let's do that together. First and foremost, let's create an Excel file. Of course, maybe there's better ways to do this, but I'm just gonna do my own way that I know works, or I expect it works. Write template storage bins. And this is an Excel file, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna enter inside, I'm gonna save it as a CSV. So as I go to the file here, I can save a copy, and I'm actually gonna create a pure CSV file here, comma delimited, okay? And I'm gonna call it KT. I often use KT for Quartrest, of course. KT write template storage bins, okay? And I'm gonna save it on this desktop. Saves your changes as you make them. Got it, autosave is on. KT write template storage bins, it's telling me possibly data loss. Of course, a CSV file is more simple than an Excel file, but I don't care about this, so don't show again. And now I'm ready to put some data in here. And what data do I want to put? Well, you remember the first row is really headings, and therefore the first row is really not the data, and therefore it will be thrown away. So on the first row, maybe just for the sake of simplicity, I will put the descriptions of the fields of the data points that I expect to populate then in the following rows. Okay, so oftentimes I use technical names simply because by now I know the technical name, and technical name is unique in SAP, so you cannot make a mistake with the description. Description, you could have 2 very similar descriptions, but the technical name is unique. Nevertheless, just to show you the data, I'm going to put descriptions in the header and then the data below. You could put really anything in the header, anyway it's going to be thrown away. It's really used for your reference so you know what kind of data to put beneath. So right now I'm going to use the description of the fields in SAP. Let's go back here. We have the descriptions here. So Control Y, I'm going to be able to multiple select all this data in this column, copy, and I will go back to my CSV file. I'm going to put everything here in the same column. By the way, I see some empty between block indicator and weight unit. I'm a bit concerned. Oh, there's a 0 there. Max weight. Max weight. Look at this. This is interesting. The max weight component really doesn't have a description, which is a shame. And this is a no-go for me. Even if it's hard to understand, I do want something. So I'm going to revert back to what I just said. I'm not going to use descriptions. It's unfortunate this max weight doesn't have a description as a technical field. And there's other fields I see here that don't have a description. I always want something. I don't want to work with nothing. That's definitely a problem. So I'm going to use technical fields. Therefore, Control Y, copy. Using technical fields this time, I'm going to delete all of this, delete, and I'm going to paste here all the technical fields. Of course, bear with me, you can always go back to SAP and check what's LG, num, LG, pla. If you don't remember, that's fine. I don't remember them all by heart. I remember the fundamentals because I've seen them so many times. But of course, you can just check at the structure. You know which structure in SAP you should be looking at, and just check if you need to value that field or not. Probably we're not going to populate a lot of these fields. We just need to populate the fundamental fields. You will see it in a moment. All right, let's do some more work. So we took all these values until brand. We moved down one page. Always remember when you scroll by clicking on the space here between the scroller and the arrows so that you go down by one page and you don't make big mistakes. Let's copy this field here. Copy. Oops. And we go down. We continue. It's a long list of fields that we will need. And one more time maybe. Yeah. A few more fields. Great. All right, now I'm sure there's a way to transpose in Excel. I'm a bit lazy. I'm not going to transpose. I'm literally going to move them one by one and put them in the first row in the exact same order, because that's the population order as well of the data. That's what I've seen. I saw B1, B2, B3. So this is the right order and sequence following the structure and the list of the fields in the structure. And yeah, sometimes people get frustrated. They're like, oh, do I really need to do it like that? Maybe they spend half an hour searching for a way to transpose this data. But quite frankly, look, it's like 20 clicks. It's going to take me maybe 1 minute to do it. And oftentimes you will see that the brute force still saves the day. At least that's what happened to me many times in many occasions in the projects. Just make sure, since you're doing this manually, that you don't make any mistakes, because one mistake here, of course, is a mistake in the file upload, and then you will need to recheck what kind of mistakes you made. But that being said, definitely manual work still works. Almost done, more than halfway through. And actually, manual work like this to me also helps. Oftentimes I'm really solving difficult problems, so it's a little bit like washing dishes. I don't know what kind of way to decompress or relax you have. I don't mind washing dishes. Of course, I have a dishwasher at home, so it doesn't happen that often. But one of the easy repetitive things where you know everything's going to be okay and you just do the job, it's actually helpful, especially if you're doing a lot of projects where everything is unpredictable. All right. Well, hope you're enjoying my chat. Otherwise, I'm sure you skipped this part of the video. That's not a problem. And in the meantime, as you can see, we're almost done. and it seems like there's quite some data here. So I believe we won't have to populate everything. I'm also reading actually the fields as I do it. This kind of work is also useful to check everything. PBV is picked by voice. So the picked by voice verification field is there. We don't need it. It's gonna be blank. So as I put the structure, very nice, save. As we put the structure, now this is our file format. Remember, the first row is going to be totally discarded, so it's not real data that is going to be used for the upload. It's just what kind of information is in every piece of data. What's really mandatory when you're creating a storage bin is the warehouse number and the storage bin name and the storage type. So the first three actually, warehouse number, storage bin name, and storage type. Not surprising, they're the first three that we've been asked by the template. One more thing I want to say here is, now the temptation, what many people would do is, oh, I have these bins, they have all these data, let me try upload. Wrong approach. The best approach when you're trying something and it doesn't work yet, because we didn't upload one single file yet, is to start with a minimalistic approach. The MVP, minimum viable product, the smallest, easiest, fastest thing that we can do, although not complete, is what's going to help us understand if things actually work or not. What I want to say is, if you put a lot of data here of your actual bin data, the real bins, there's many reasons why the upload could go wrong. If instead you put the bare minimum amount of data, it is more likely that the upload will go through, because there's less things that can go wrong. And after you have something that's working, it's much easier to arrive at the final stage with a lot of things working, because you already know this part is working, and now you add this and it works, and now you add this, it works, and now you add this, you see it doesn't work, and you know it's exactly because of the last piece of information, not because something else is wrong, because you are growing what's working as you go until you get to the final picture, to the final outcome you are going for. This is one of the fundamental solution design principles, definitely very useful overall, any type of work you are doing. So enough of me chit-chatting. Let's put some actual data. So we have a warehouse in the system that is KT01. Let's say I'm going to create a bin called MJ99 test 01. Oh, let me not use slash. I don't like slash. Let me use exactly a hyphen. Okay, and LG tip, the storage type, we have storage type 0020, that is there, I know. Oh, watch out. This is something that can go wrong, I know based on experience. Now, since we are in Excel, there's a type of data that is general here, but since this is a CSV file, it's best to change all the data types to pure text here. Well, I'm changing to pure text because I don't want Excel removing some of the data and then SAP not understanding that storage type is actually 0020 and not 20. So I'm going to retype 0020, and here now you see 0020. So this is basic mistake, but it often happens. If I left 20 only, the SAP EWM would think, oh, there's a storage type 20. It wouldn't find it and it would give me an error. That's what I think, at least. Anyway, we will see in a moment. So we are ready with the file. We save this file. And now that we have the file, I'm not going to populate anything else. I'm just going to try upload this set of data to see if it works. And after this works, maybe I can populate the max capacity. The max volume is here, the max weight, the unit of weight, kilos. I expect max weight is like 100 kilos, and I need both when I'm uploading. But right now, as I said, the simplest solution is the one that works best, and that's the one we want to test, and we want to make sure it works. Great. Save the file, close the file. The file is right here. I'm gonna copy it. I'm gonna go to my remote desktop. I'm gonna put it on the desktop of my remote desktop. Oh, did I crash? Could be. Something crashed. We will check what. I'm gonna paste the file here. So you see it's right template storage bin XLSX. I copied the wrong file, I think, because I did save a CSV, so I'm going to delete this. I'm going to go back. So always pay attention to what's happening, what you're doing. This is the right template storage bin Excel, and this is the right template storage bin CSV. This is where I have all my information. I'm going to copy it again, and I'm going to go here and I'm going to paste it. And my file is right here. Let's double click. Let's check what's inside. Yep, it looks ugly in the notepad, but as you can see in the first line, we have all the data with a comma. And in the second line, we have the data with a comma and then a lot of commas. A lot of commas meaning I know I have all this data, but I'm actually not providing any data. I'm just saying these are empty fields. All right. And you see the 0020. That's nice. And another nice thing of opening it not in Excel is that although maybe the display is not the best, there's also other editors like Notepad++ or others, whatever you prefer. But the good thing here is that you see the raw data and you see what's going to be in the strings in the ABAP code. All right. Great. Wow. What a journey. And I think we're ready for the storage bin upload finally.